Zooming in again, the areas of the sinkholes differ. Most of them are caused by water extraction, which are smaller in size, but the bigger ones date back to the 11th century and mostly are naturally formed. In this square only, there are approximately 70 sinkholes mapped. They can be classified, but they have their own agency. They have an interconnected with the community, and there is a curiosity naturally comes from the people living there. The site map includes many elements, many wells, the vernacular architecture, countless sinkholes, many solar panels, and my roots, and the people and seeds that live there. These are the four elements extracted from the site: animal ecology, geological time, labor, and temporary housing, and the conditions. These are all existing real conditions that I have researched about on my site. So I start asking the question, how can an architecture derive from these events that I've seen, create a symbiotic living environment that integrates rather than dominates the landscape?
I'll try to read scale pace pattern in an orderly way. I'll do my best, which isn't very good, I must say. But nevertheless, onwards and upwards. Onwards and upwards. Scale pace pattern. AA Lawn 05022026. McLuhan argues that a message is the change of scale or pace or pattern that a new invention or innovation introduces into human affairs. Until writing was invented, man lived in an acoustic space, boundless, directionless, horizonless, in the dark of the mind, in the world of emotion, by primordial intuition, by terror. Speech is a social chart of this bog. The goose quill put an end to talk.
I mean, the Canary Wharf that you see today, that was our playground. We used to play in those docks. Those docks were falling down, but there were reservoirs around the docks. They were swimming pools in the summer. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be now. Of course, the way it's being used now is sensible. It's a good use of space, and business needs to be done. What better place than the East End? It brings investment into the area, and I get all that. but I think we're leaving the social side behind, and I think that's the shame, because as human beings we've proved in Robin Hood Gardens that can exist. I just think that it's a shame that we're putting profit before people.
Literary people read slowly because they sample the complex dimensions and words, the flavours of words and the phrases. They strive for totality, not lineality. They are well aware that the words on the page have to be decanted with the utmost skill. Those who imagine they read only for content are illusioned. Super 8 movie film was released in 1965. It replaced 8mm film, which was very grainy, even more grainy than Super 8.
It was definitely on a tripod.
76. That's just
I was minus the
unit 8. Ah. What does it say? I don't know what it says.
What's that say?
David Green.
David Green?
Over there, that's David
Bergman?
Green.
All the rest.
Okay, exercise 4. What is it going to be?
The first truly portable video camera system, the Sony Portapak Video Rover, was released in 1967. It featured a black and white camera and a separate heavy reel-to-reel recorder. It was the first integrated all-in-one consumer camcorders appeared in the early 1980s, such as the 1983 Sony Beta movie. The Carousel 35mm gravity-fed slide projector was released in 1961. It ceased production in 2004 as digitization of the image advanced. Societies have always been shaped more by the nature of the media by which men communicate than by the content of the communication. The medium is the message. Marshall McLuhan. In the global village, the concerns of everyone become an invasion of self, an invasion of a private life. If we agree with McLuhan, then in this media-speeded-up village, education must shift from instruction, from imposing of stencils, to discovery, to probing and exploration, and to the recognition of the language of forms. Is Reading Week just another stencil? Interestingly, generally ignored by tutors, but not by institutions.
from that kind of analysis, how do you actually see that whole ground level surface? And in a way, how does your project start to become this system within that city? And I think because we're still at the kind of halfway mark of the year, that potentially use this kind of task or maybe potentially become useful might be something to just change the way you might perceive the design of how you move forward and kind of portraying some of your observations and creating a different conversation. I think that might make it a bit more non-linear potentially, but actually create
but yes, there is too much in the framework of